6 o'clock. See, I'm going to start on time. So let me get, welcome to the free webinar. My name is Deborah Cooper. We call it a webinar because that's my name with the webinar. Today, what I wanted to do, I originally had kept something scheduled for last month, but due to a medical emergency that had my butt in the hospital for a couple of days, I had to cancel it. And then I still wasn't ready. When I thought it was going to be 2 weeks later, I was still, you know, just not really doing too well. So I didn't have it then. And I said, fuck it. So let's just do a free one. So I refunded people their money, and here we go. So if you have friends that you think would like to participate, send them a quick link. Let them know they can come. We'll be here for at least the next hour, depending on how many people show up. I originally booked it for 90 minutes, but, you know, it may not take that long if few people show up. I do understand it was rather last minute, so, you know, I'm not really tripping. But what I wanted to do was present an opportunity to my channel visitors and website visitors to spend some time with me one-on-one to directly answer your questions. Now, you'll see there's a thing where it says, you know, Q&A. That's where you would type your questions, and then I will answer them, you know, live on the broadcast. I wanted to talk about, I have a couple of questions that people sent in. I'll get started with those. And then any questions that you viewers may have, you can just present them and I'll answer them in real time. All right. So let me, how do I do this? See, it's been so long since I forgot how to do it again. Okay, here we go. All right. So share screen. We're going to come to here. And here we are. So this is what I wanted to show you. So this is what we're going to do. Have, you know, your questions about love and men, dating and modern relationships. So whatever those are, you know, try not to be shy. This is your opportunity. If you have a question, type it in the Q&A box for a response. So let me get started with the questions. I have a couple of questions that came in where people were a little bit too shy to, you know, they didn't want to present them in the actual webinar. So they sent them to me in advance, which is actually okay because it gave me something to get started with. So this one lady posted this up on the YouTube page, and she says, you know, why did he say this to me? My boyfriend and I had an argument recently. At one point he said, look, there's plenty more fish in the sea and you're just one of them. I can get other bitches. What was the purpose of him saying that? Help me, please. And, you know, she didn't say how old she is, so I figured she must be pretty young, because otherwise she would have known what this meant, and she would have thrown something at his fucking face and then bounced like deuces. So, you know, we have to allow for the fact, you know, I don't know, she could be a teenager, you know what I mean? I don't know how old these people are unless they specifically tell me. But in a case like this, young lady, I need to talk to you like I would if you were my own daughter. Number one, you do not accept any man calling you a bitch, a hoe, a thought, a skank, you know, none of those kind of derogatory, put down kind of things. You just don't accept. That's unacceptable behavior on his part, and for him to disrespect you in such a manner really means to me that he's gonna give a shit about you. Now you need to understand that, where he's coming from to even talk to you like that. Okay, he gives no fucks about you. All right, so whatever you doing with him, whatever you think you have going on with this dude, it's a figment of your imagination. You just some ass. Okay, now when you look at what he was telling you, you know, you two had a disagreement, and that's how he responded to you. Okay, so where in there is any kind of acknowledgement of the problem? Where is there any willingness to work on the problem, to fix the problem, to make it the situation between the two of you better? It's not there. Okay, please understand what you have here. This man is straight telling you to your face, you don't mean shit to me. I don't give any fucks about you. You are so replaceable, it's not even funny. That's what he's telling you. So for you to ask what the purpose was for him to let you know you're not important to me whatsoever. So there's no point in you arguing with me, trying to get me to change or see things from your perspective, or to care about what you feel or the hurts that you feel or what you want from me or what you think, what you would like to be different. None of that. None of that is important to this man. That's what he's telling you. So, you know, to say that you're just one of them, I mean, it's like you're like a dozen eggs, you know, all the same, just easily replaceable one after another, just nothing different, nothing exciting, nothing unique. An egg is an egg, right? I mean, the shell may be brown, the shell may be white, just like the woman may be brown, the woman may be white. But, you know, if you don't really care about what's on the inside of that woman, then they're all the same to you. So that's what he's basically telling you. Now, what are you going to do about it? That's really the issue here. He's talking to you any old kind of way. And what this is the topic, and I'm going to use this again when I do my next video. The video I'm working on now is about emotional abuse. And this is a classic example, because what he wants to do is make you feel insecure about the relationship that you thought that you two had. And he wants to make you feel like you're nothing. So that's what he said. Now, when guys do that, what they're looking to do is make you feel insecure, to shatter your self-esteem, and to let you know how replaceable you are, how unimportant you are. His goal is to get the upper hand and to have control, because a lot of women feeling so insecure at this point of hearing something like this, they will bend over backwards to try to please him, placate him, and act like, well, you know, I didn't really mean what I said. The argument was silly. You know, they'll back down. They'll be quiet. They'll just let him have his way, and that's what he wants. So in a situation like this, what I would recommend is that you have to love yourself more than you ever love a man. And if somebody talks to you like this, I mean, I don't know, you know, what your particular language thing is, because see, to me, I would have stepped back and he would have been every kind of nigga motherfucker I could have thought of. But, you know, that may not be you. You know, like I said, I don't know how old you are. I don't know what your confidence level is and all these kind of things. But no matter which situation it is, there's no way in this world you should take and tolerate and accept this kind of disrespect from a man that you're involved with, that you're sharing your heart and emotions and body with. Don't you do that, because, I mean, it's like, why are you giving him those perks and benefits when he talks to you and treats you like this? That's just inappropriate on every level I can think of, okay? So don't ever do that. And that goes for all the listeners as well. If you have a guy who says this kind of discounting, dismissive stuff to you, understand what time it is. He doesn't give a fuck about you. So anything that you feel you want from him, the attachments you have to this man, also, you are wasting your time. You are just being a sucker for somebody who sees you like gum under his shoe. You shouldn't, you can't do that to yourself. All right. So keep in mind, you know, I'm taking questions. If you just got here, you have a question, type it in the Q&A box. I'll be checking them periodically as we go along, and hopefully, you know, you guys will have some questions, because I only got 3. This will be a short webinar if you guys don't have any questions. All right. Okay, so then we talked about that one. So let's move on to this one, because I wanted to, I kind of touched on these things, but I did make a slide because I want to make sure that I, you know, talked about certain aspects of this behavior. I talked about the insecurity and how it breeds docility. You know, the women will back down. They will be quiet. They won't, you know, say much. They'll just let him do whatever he wants to do. That's what he wants, control. And what you have to understand is when guys say things like that to you, not only is it verbal abuse because he called you a bitch, but it's emotional abuse because he's basically putting you down. He's letting you feel, you know, telling you that you're not anything. He's rejecting you as someone special, you know, calling you names and judging you and discounting you and trivializing your feelings and whatever it is that you wanted from him as far as, you know, resolution to the problems that you presented, the reason why you guys are arguing. So this, and like I said, I'll be going into more detail in the upcoming video, talking about what emotional abuse is and giving very specific examples that you can see, because this is my premise, that Black culture is designed to emotionally abuse women. It is formatted that way. Women, from your first look at the Bible to everything in between, the day that they throw dirt on your face, it's all designed to put Black women down, to make them fearful, to make them feel needy about relationships and men. They accept insults and bullying. Even if you're walking up and down the street, you get bullied and insulted. You on the train, you get bullied and insulted. In your relationships, you get bullied and insulted. This is all ingrained in the way that Black men communicate to Black women. I mean, it's just, this is just how they do things. Is it acceptable? No, I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is it is a part of our culture, to the point where so many Black women don't even question it. They just feel like, you know, that's just the way that it is. That's just how men talk to us. You know, they want to touch you inappropriately and do all of those things that cause fear and insecurity, and to, you know, hurt your feelings, and all of those things constitute emotional abuse. So like I said, I'll be going into that in great detail in the upcoming video. I also have a video up about antisocial personality disorder, which you can listen to. It goes into very deep discussion about these types of guys, a part of the cluster B personality disorder, I don't know, diagnosis. But you know, this guy, as he presented to her, he's unsupportive. He has absolutely no regard for her feelings, for her rights, or her needs. You know, he just basically trying to intimidate her by letting her know that what she feels and what she thinks and whatever she wanted from him, you know, we just like, who gives a fuck? And the cruel things that he said to her, he had absolutely no remorse for it, because otherwise he would have apologized. Instead, she comes to the page and posts this question looking for answers. And I think that's very, very sad. You know, so I just feel like this, you know, she's young and she obviously doesn't have, you know, like an elder in her life that she can take this kind of stuff to, because otherwise they would have already told her this. There's no way she should be out and about dating and not know the answers to this kind of behavior and think that that kind of behavior from a man towards her is okay. She should have clocked that motherfucker upside the head with something, the nearest blunt object. You don't be talking to me like that, knucklehead. All right, so you guys, let me see, how do I do this? See, oh, how do I do this? I'm not sure how I get back to the screen where you guys are. I don't know what to do. Okay, so anybody got questions? You know, put them in the Q&A box. I'll be, you know, anxiously awaiting what you have to say. All right, so let me get to the next question. All right. Like I said, I only got 3, so y'all better come up with something quick. Okay, somebody thought something. Okay, let me get to you after this one. All right, question number 2. She says it was love at first sight, and he was everything, you know, that I wanted. He was a good man at first. He helped clean, he helped cook, he did all that, you know, but now he comes home from work, he eats, he wants to have sex, and all he wants to do is watch TV. I work a full-time job too, plus we have children. I even stopped cleaning to see if he would do it, but I can't live in a filthy house for long. I feel like the maid. How do I get my husband to help around the house? The yard is a mess. I can't do it all, she says. Okay, you know, I looked at that. I said, this poor child, he got her over a barrel, because he knows that's how she is. See, men are slick. They, you know, they know how to press your buttons. And he knows by living with you, he knows you can't stand a nasty house. So all he has to do is wait you out. See? Because, you know, he really doesn't care if the house is messy or not. So he has the advantage there. He can wait, you know, probably for weeks before he even trips out. But see, this is the thing. You have to be like a total bitch. You have to think evilly, like I do. So this is what you would do. You would first do a little research. Okay, everything that you want done, like, you know, say maid service, laundry service, I don't know, yard service, um, all the things that you feel like you need help with. You go and you get some bids for those things, right? Because they have these websites, you know, you can go to these little websites and they have, you know, contracts for people to sign up for these services, and you get the little bids. You say, oh, this is what I need. I need this 3 times a week. I need this once a week. I need this. And then you figure out how much all this is going to cost, right? And then you politely go in his wallet and take all his money. And then you tell him, this is how we're going to do this. See, I'm not going to do all of this, but I also refuse to have my children live in squalor, because the bacteria and things, you know, the attraction of rodents and vermin, you know, that's just not safe for my babies. And so I'm not going to have that. But what we are going to have is, you, since you don't want to do these things, you don't want to help, you're going to pay for them to be done. So that's it. Either you do it yourself or you pay for it to be done in your stead. There's only your 2 choices, A and B. Because C, I'm not doing it. So that's off the table. So then, you know, you just take the money out of his wallet and then you pay for these people to come in. They clean, they cook, they do the yard, they, you know, whatever you need them to do. He's paying for it. And you sit down on the couch next to him, grab the remote out of his hand and put your bunny slippers on and put your feet up too, just like him. That's what you do. And now, I don't know if you can do that, but that's what I would do, and that is what I recommend. You know, you just have to like be like, well, I don't know what you're going to do, because I'm not doing it. That's the bottom line. I'm not going to do it, but it does need to get done. So since you don't want to do it and I refuse to do it, that means we got to pay somebody to do it. And I don't give a shit if it costs $1,000 a month. You get ready to unask this money to pay for it. What you want from me? You know, I mean, if he gets tired of paying for it, he'll get off the couch. I don't know what else to tell you. But, you know, there's no reason for you to feel like a maid. There's no reason for you to be frustrated. There's no reason for you to have to smell, you know, garbage and dirty dishes and all the shit that, you know, I mean, I get that. I understand where you're coming from. And like I said, you know, especially now in the summertime, you know, that stuff's going to get rank real quick in a house that's warm. So, you know, you have to figure out something else, and that would be my suggestion. All right, let's get some Q's and A's in here. Well, she asked, why do our men need to subjugate us? Why do they need to? That is a really good question. I mean, I'm sure there's some variance between, you know, I mean, every guy's going to have a slightly different reason. But when you boil it down, what it comes out to is 2 things. One, their sexist belief in their superiority just because they have a ding-a-ling. You know, they feel like because woman is supposed to have come from man's rib, that makes him superior to us, and that, you know, he has dominion not only over the animals of the world, but women as well. A lot of guys have that belief from one varying extent to another. But the main thing is, when you look at the society in which we live, Black men, as far as men go, are at the bottom of the totem pole. They're at the bottom. I mean, they have less respect than an immigrant who can't even speak English. And I'm sure that, you know, that bothers them, and that works on their minds and egos, and makes them feel pretty ineffective and undesirable and not really like men. You know, I get all that. But you're not going to get those feelings from abusing women. And see, we're like the only partner that they have in this whole fight. And instead of joining hands with us, so to be 2 against 1, they're more in line with the white man who's beating their asses than they are with us. And I find that very interesting, because it's like that bros before hoes shit. Even though these white boys are killing them and dead and shooting them in the head and all this old stuff, they would still rather identify with them as males than they would with Black women as Black people. You see what I mean? And it causes this thing where it just leaves both of us now are hanging out by ourselves, struggling to survive, when we could be greater if we were together as a unit. But we can't do that because every time you turn around, there's a black man trying to, you know, berate you, abuse you, manipulate you, control you, you know, dominate you, kill you, stalk you. I mean, all these things. I mean, black women in these inner cities live in abject terror of the men in their areas because of how they're treated. So, you know, I understand. I'm not saying, I mean, I understand what's going on with them mentally and why they feel like they need to feel like a man by dominating and hurting and controlling black women. But what I'm saying is that's the very wrong approach. They don't see that what they're doing is shooting themselves in the foot. This is the only person on this planet that gives a fuck about you. And instead of you recognizing that, you instead want to hurt her, you know, as you strike out because you're mad about how white men treat you. This is just, it's stupid. But that's my best explanation. That's, you know, I mean, like I said, it's going to probably vary slightly from man to man, but when you boil it all down, it's going to come to that bottom line. Questions, anyone? You guys got specific questions about your relationship? This is the time to pose them. You got me on here, you know, I committed to it, be here for at least an hour. You know, I would like it if there's enough questions for it to be the full 90 minutes, but if not, you know, then we'll cut it short and try to have another one in a couple of weeks. So that question is answered. So let's go to the next one. What is hypergamy? Oh, good one. Hypergamy is the concept that a lot of men complain about, that are like bottom feeders and losers. They don't like hypergamy. Hypergamy, the concept is of a woman marrying up, of a woman aligning herself and giving her womb and her energy and her sex and her life and her smiles and everything else, to her beauty, her youth, to a man who's going to be an advantage to her. Okay, so you don't get with no broke dude. You don't get with no struggling dude. You don't get to nobody who don't have shit. Instead, you go with a man who it matches what you have or your family has economically and socially, or he's a step or two above. So when you think about it, see, that's why princesses always marry princes or kings. Or, you know, the Lord, you know, Jones, his daughter married up some other Lord's daughter, or a count's daughter, or something like that. You see what I mean? So you always at your level or above, and that's how girls came up, raised their families up, and that's, you know, men traded their wealth for youth and beauty. That's just the way that it always has been. But when you have a bunch of guys now who don't have anything, some of them barely have jobs, they don't have any social standing, they don't have any money, and they're angry that women want to have a man in their life who's going to raise them up and take them and their kids to the next level, who can provide a nice house, who can provide cars and vacations and private schools and tutors and dance lessons and music lessons and pay college tuition. I mean, what woman wouldn't want her children to have an existence that's better than what she had? So some advantages to that child's life. What woman would be such a fool that she would turn her back on that? But see, these dudes are so mad that they don't have anything to offer, and they're not some half of them are ugly too. They can't fuck, and it's like, what the fuck do you think somebody want to be bothered with you? So yes, hypergamy is the way to go. And especially if you are young and beautiful and you get with somebody who's dumb and stupid and broke, you dumb. I mean, I don't even know what to tell you. You better get that shit while the getting is good. You know what? It's like men all over the world want a young woman between the ages of like 18 and 25. And if you have that age group and you are gorgeous, you better work that shit for every dime you can get out these motherfuckers. Have your tuition paid. You make them get you a car, and don't just take it in money and bling and stupid stuff. Excuse me. Get them to buy you some property. Get you some land and get you a condo and get you a home and some stuff that's gonna, you know, that helps, that you can use for wealth. Have them start buy you a business, something like that. If you have any doubts about what you should do and what you should get out of them, call me. Write me, I'll tell you. And by the way, I wanted to show you guys my cup. My friend in England sent this to me. Isn't it nice? And it has this little top, so it keeps your tea hot. I don't have tea in it though, I have wine. It doesn't need the top. But I just wanted to show you. I thought it was so beautiful. She sent it to me the other day. So I thought I'd show that off. But yeah, that's what hypergamy is. I'm thinking about doing a video on it, which I may do in a couple of weeks. I have so many things lined up that I want to talk about. But, you know, still looking for some questions from you guys. You have some issues about your relationships you want to talk about. I know people are shy. Don't be shy. It's nothing to be afraid of. So that's hypergamy. Why is it wrong to not want to struggle? I don't think it's wrong, but what you have is a culture where Black women are being socialized almost from birth to think that we are here to serve Black men, that that's our primary purpose, is to lift them up, to hold them down, to be his strength, to be his rock, you know, all this kind of stuff. It's like all these things are taught to us to be, to give to them. But I'm not hearing where they're, you know, being taught to give to us and support and take care of us in return. It's a very one-sided, kind of sick, twisted relationship when you really think about it. A lot of it is based in religion. This is one reason why I constantly harping on Black women to get your minds out them Bibles and them Qurans, because see, that's not doing nothing for you. If it was doing something for you, then women would be at the top of their game. Instead of just still for the, you know, 800,000 centuries, we still at the bottom under men struggling. That hasn't helped you. It hasn't helped you do anything. So I don't know what else to say there, but it's, if you are the type of woman who demands to get, you know, a man who treats you well and to see you as an equal and to give to you in return, for some reason that's looked down upon in the Black community. And the women are seen as like, if you want a man with some money, you're called a gold digger, instead of a woman who's looking for the best option for herself and her future children and the household that she hopes to have. Instead, is being put down. And, you know, if she's looking for a guy who has some ends meeting, you know, she's like, oh, well, you know, you just focus on material shit. You just materialistic and stuff. You know, that ain't the method. Love don't have nothing to do with that. Love don't pay no bills. Love doesn't pay college tuition or put food on the table or clothes on your back. It doesn't pay daycare. It doesn't buy diapers or formula or pay doctor bills. Love, I mean, you know what I mean? I'm going to just tell you what my daddy used to tell me. You can fall in love with a rich man just as easy as you can a poor one, because they all the same. That's what my own father told me. Now, I mean, you know, I didn't fall in love with no rich man, but I was never messing with no broke dude. Let me put it that way. I was kind of in the middle, you know, regular dudes with a little business or, you know, some little thing like some professional level job. But I'm not messing with no broke dudes. You're talking about I don't have no job. I'm between jobs right now. I don't make minimum wage and all this kind of stuff. No, you can't talk to me. I don't even see you. I can't see you. But I think a lot of women need to get over that. A lot of Black women especially need to get over that thing where they feel like there's value and glory in struggling with some man. You know, just there's no value to that. What's the where are you, what are you getting out of that? You know, something to talk about, I guess. But I mean, where's the value to your life? Where is it bringing you up? What's it doing to adding to your life to make you feel better or have more and be a greater achiever? I mean, what benefit? And I'm still waiting for somebody to answer that question. And every time I ask that question, you know, women just look at me, because there's, you know, it's just stupid. It's just something you were taught, but it really makes no sense to follow along in that belief. Okay, so let me go to my next question that came in here, and then I'll go back to the Q&As. Oh, okay. So these were my cues. I'm sorry, I forgot I made this slide with the guy who didn't want to help do any of the housework with his wife. Yeah, this were my suggestion, and I'll take that money right out his wallet. Okay, so let's go to the next one. This girl, right, and this is very common. You people with these 900-year engagements. We've been dating for 4 years, engaged for 3. I've made repeated attempts to get the ball rolling, to get married, and even to move in together, but it's not happening. I know he loves me, but he seems hesitant when it comes to taking real action. How much longer should I wait to become a wife? Okay, engaged for 3 years, she's already waited 2 years longer than I would ever recommend. You know what I mean? Unless you like still in college or something. If you're a grown woman out of school with a job and all that, you got 1 year, buddy. And during that year, we better be making some serious wedding plans. So this is, these are my recommendations. As my grandfather used to say, weight broke the bridge down. So in a situation like this, you're engaged to a man and he's like hesitating on setting a wedding date. Don't move in with him. Don't do that, because then you're going to really be, you playing the wife role. So you're basically giving him all the benefits of being married to you without having to go through with the wedding. Why would you do that? What's wrong with you? Where's your thinking? You don't do that. I mean, I understand when she just wants something to happen. She wants something to move forward, and I understand what she's saying, but I'm saying her solution, the living together part, is flat out wrong. What she needs to do is sit down with homeboy and have a serious conversation. It's like, okay, I've been relatively patient, but my patience has worn out. Now, you need to give me some answers to some questions, because what you say right now is going to make or break this relationship. So, you seem to be hesitating. You have some fears. What are they? But tell me, give me a list. What's bothering you? And, he needs to be talking. I mean, not, well, nothing. Then motherfucker, why are we married? You know what I mean? It's one way or the other. It can't be both. So either you have some issues that's holding you back, or you just don't want to get married. So it's got to be one of them two. All right. So, then listen to see what he says. I mean, I don't know. I can't even come up with any reasonable, plausible explanation. But, you would deal with that in whatever way you saw, fit. And what is he like? If he has some fears, or maybe it's not fears, maybe he's waiting for something to happen. He's waiting to get a promotion. He's waiting to get pay off his student loans. He's waiting for his mother to get her operation and get back on her feet. I mean, what is it? What is it that he's waiting to see or to have happen? I mean, maybe you have to finish school. Maybe there's something you need to do that he's, using as a time monitor. You need to find out what that is to see if it's something that's going to be, coming up immediately, something you can, expedite. I mean, what is it? Does it even make any sense? Then, depending upon what he says, you give him a time frame. There should be a time frame around everything. My suggestion is no more than 90 days. You've already waited 3 years. So what, you're going to wait another 3? You give him 90 days to say starting today, and then by the time that 90th day rolls around, we need to be walking down somebody's aisle, going to the courthouse. We need to be doing something to be married, or I'm out. Because it's like, I'm not going to spend years and years of my life and waste my youth fucking around with you when I want to be married to start my family. I want to do things with my life, and I feel like I'm spinning my wheels messing with you. And yeah, I love you, but I love myself more, and I always will. So what you're talking about, or what you don't want to do with stuff, is irrelevant, because it's not what's in my program. And to me, my program is more important than what you're talking about. See, that would be me. And I'm just like, you got 90 days and starting today. And I'd be looking for me a place, and have all my shit lined up, the movie company, reserved. I mean, I'd have everything ready to go, because obviously, there's a problem here that he's not willing to face. He's not willing to vocalize. So he wants to keep her around because it's a convenient situation for him. He's getting sex. He has, companionship. He has everything he wants without making that final commitment. No. And then, she has to be willing to bounce, if he decides he doesn't want to give it, or he starts balking or trying to extend the time even more. She's really got to stand firm. And this goes for all you other ladies out there too. Y'all, you just be too nice. You be too patient, and you give too much. You let these guys just stretch it out and use you and use up all your energy and do all the stuff while they're playing games with your minds and hearts. And you want something from them that they're not ever going to give you. It's better to acknowledge that they're not giving it to you, and then to move on, than it is to continue to waste your time year after year with in a relationship where, you're not getting what you want. So then we have another question. Can an ex-con make a good husband? Can. Well, I mean, lightning can strike twice in the same spot. I mean, sure, they can, um, but why would you want to take that chance? Because the fact that they're a felon, it puts them behind the 8 ball as far as a lot of opportunities go. That means you sign up for that struggle love again. I mean, a lot of guys, and that's why one reason why I hesitate is because I do know one guy who, but see, he went to prison like in the 70s and when things were a lot different than they are now. He went to prison and out here in California. And at the time they had this program where you could finish college in prison at San Quentin. And then when he got out, his grades were stellar and he got a scholarship to UC Berkeley. They had some kind of program at the time. And, he was a model student. He got it. He went in there when he was really young. He didn't say that, I was done. I'm not fucking around with that stuff anymore. He went to UC Berkeley. He got his degree, and then he got his master's degree in psychology. So he's a psychologist. And the brother is very unique in that A, he's a black male, B, he's very Afrocentric, and C, since he's been on both sides of the fence, he can talk to people academically as well as from, streety, because he's been there and done that. So he's a very unique individual. It's really fascinating to talk to him. But could someone do that now? No, because those programs are no longer in existence. I don't know what they would do. But that is one person who I know who made a fabulous husband after he was a convicted felon. But like I said, we're talking 40, 50 years ago, and things just aren't like that anymore. Any more questions, ladies? Where's everybody with their questions? I thought the questions would be fired. I guess people are shy. Okay. Oh, she asked if I'm dating a guy who's, been in prison, should I ask him if he's had sex with other men? Well, sure, you can ask him, but please don't think he's going to say yes. Don't think that. He's not going to tell you, because you have to think of it like this. Whether it was by choice or by force, there's really no advantage for him to tell you. That's the bottom line. So my thing is, one should always assume, especially if he's been to actual prison versus just, like the county jail. Because I think if you have 300, there's a cutoff. If it's a year or more, then you go to state prison. If it's 364 days or less, you go to the county jail. And, that it's not as intense. But I would think that I would just assume the answer is yes, that he has, whether it was by force or coercion or by his choice, he's had some kind of sexual interaction with another man. That would be my thing. So I wouldn't wait for him to ask. I mean, I wouldn't ask and wait for him to give me an answer. I would just, assume that was the case. Okay, another question here. Let's talk about this stealthing thing. Oh my God. The other day, there's an article I posted on my Facebook wall. One of my friends sent me a link to where this girl got pregnant from a guy that she was dating who slipped the condom off and, and got her pregnant. He knew that she did not believe in abortions. So he knew if she got pregnant, she was going to go through with the pregnancy. See, that's really unfortunate because, I'll just tell you what happened. I met this guy, right? And he didn't have any kids. He was a nice looking dude, but I could peep, he was a gamey sort. He always was looking to get the other hand, and he pulled out all stops. He used a pity card. He just used all the games, and I used to just look at him. I never let him on that I knew what he was doing. I just, didn't participate in his games, but he was cute and the sex was fabulous. And so what can I say? I, stuck around as long as it was entertaining to me, and then I bounced. But what this guy did was one day he asked me, if you got pregnant, what would you do? And I said, okay, here we go. See, now he's waiting for me to say, oh, I would want to have your baby, blah, blah, blah. I don't believe in abortions, blah, blah, all this other shit, right? That's what he thought. So he could figure out to tie me down and have some kind of, tie to me and be in my condo and just be like all up in my business for the rest of my life. I was like, contraire, mon frere. So I looked him dead in his eye and said, I would head to the nearest abortion clinic and suck that shit out and say, fuck whoever it was who got me pregnant in their ass. That's what I would do. I'm not having shit. I don't even want a goddamn dog in my house. So I don't want no goddamn kids. I just lost it. I just said all kind of just crazy shit that just sounded like I was a maniac. I was just going to be like going up and down the street aborting everything that wasn't nailed down. And he just looked at me and he got really angry. I mean, that I didn't expect. I did not expect his reaction. And it was real because he talked about it for like weeks after. He got so angry. He was like practically, people talking, they have spittle coming from their mouth. Dude was livid. He was just out of control. He was so angry. It's like, how could you do that? I don't have any kids, this and that. I'm like, yeah, but I noticed you also don't have a wife. So, I mean, what the fuck you want me to do? I'm not having no babies. I'm not having shit. So, you could just forget that shit if you thinking that I'm going to be the one having. You better go find you some little young dumb bitch and be sitting up here breeding for your ass because that is not me. Blah, 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 blah. I mean, how I get when I in my go off mode. And he just didn't know what to do with me. So after he never asked me any stupid ass questions after that. It was like, I'm not the one. Let's start play those games. All right. But, if you want to know more about stealthing, there's a whole video where I break down the behavior. I even tell you the slick little ways that they do it when they think that you're not looking. So, you ladies getting all caught up in the moment, you're not really paying attention to what he's doing down there and stuff. Yeah, better pay attention. But the bottom line to me is if you have to really worry about that kind of stuff, the guy that you're with, then you shouldn't be dealing with him because he's going to do other underhanded kind of things to try to trap you and keep you in a state of brokenness where feel like he has some kind of control over you. That's not the kind of situation that I would recommend that you get involved in. All right. Okay. The next question. If my boyfriend wants backdoor action and I don't, what should I do? Oh my God. What is it with dudes and all these things they want? Everybody's into anal these days. What is that? That kind of bothers me. But anyway, there's a video on the YouTube channel, which, youtube.com/Debsterism, and spelled DEBSTERISM. And in that, I discussed this whole attraction that these guys seem to have with anal sex. And I discussed the medical risks to women's bodies of tears and stretched out sphincter muscles where you can't hold your poop in, and all kinds of problems that women get from trying to satisfy men who are secretly on the DL. Because see, my thing is this: if you have a healthy young woman with a vagina you have sex with, why do you want to stick your dick in her ass like a man? That is foul, funky, and disgusting. And I know people are like, well, I like it. I don't give a shit. People like smoking, doing heroin and smoking cigarettes too. And what does it get them? But cancer and death. You know what I mean? I mean, there's like a downside to shit. And I'm like a gambler. So I always look at, what are the pros and what are the cons? And if the cons are so detrimental that they outweigh any possible pros, especially when you can get those pros the same pros in a way that doesn't give you that kind of risk, then why would you do that particular behavior? Why would you do that to yourself? There's no benefit to it. All the women getting surgical repairs of their asses from trying to mess around with dudes, because the dude wants anal sex. That's just makes no sense to me, to damage your body like that in a way that you have to get a surgery to repair it. I mean, where's the self-love there? You know, he's gonna be all about his business, blowing up somebody else's ass, and you over there, you know, can't hold your poop in, where it depends, and all this old stuff. Or you got to get surgery, then you got to have like a colostomy bag and everything, because you wanted to, you know, you was more worried about his sexual satisfaction than you were your health. I can't recommend that. So you can take a look at that video. There's photos in there as well as medical information that backs up what I just said. And it's pretty scary when you think about it. Okay, and then the last question, because people are not asking questions here. Oh, someone just asked one. Oh, yay. Okay, here we go. This young lady asks, are sexually abused men damaged goods for women? If that man has not sought therapy for the damage done to his psyche, then absolutely. Because a lot of these guys are angry. I mean, they're so angry at their mother, and that anger spills over to women in general, but they're just livid at their mother for not protecting them. And sometimes the mother inadvertently is the one who put the child at risk because she trusted the stepfather, or she trusted her brother, or she trusted her grandfather, or her, you know, her boyfriend or whatever. I mean, there's somebody that was around that she trusted to leave around her little boy. And this guy violated that trust, and he violated the child. So the child is outraged, and the child is angry at his mother for doing what, you know, what he feels like she did, putting him at risk. So if he hasn't, you know, taken care to get some therapy to deal with that rage and to deal with his pain and the feeling of betrayal by a man that he most likely trusted as well as his mother did, then that's a losing battle. He's never going to trust anyone. He's never going to really be open to love. And a lot of them have sexual, you know, sexual hangups connected with their abuse. And they just really have a hard time trusting people and being open and vulnerable. So, you know, they'll love you, but they can only love you so much. They can only give you so much because they have to hold some back to protect themselves. They're always watching for someone to take advantage of them again, like, you know, what happened when they were a little child and they couldn't defend themselves, but now they're a grown man and they can't. So that's my, I mean, I know it sounds a little convoluted, but that's my, my answer there. Oh, okay. So she follows him, says, I think my last boyfriend was abused, and he masturbated several times a day, loved porn, and was obsessed with getting me to push the envelope. I want to be empathetic, but I'm just put up. Well, that's what I'd say. That's what I was just saying. You know, a lot of them have some very weird problems, very strange hang-ups with sex. So, you know, be careful with that, because it's good that you're put off. You know, you recognize that it's a situation that's not comfortable for you. It doesn't feel loving to you. It doesn't feel like a real relationship. It just feels like you could be a blow-up doll with a lot of these guys. That's about how much real intimacy and emotion they put into sexual interactions with you. It's just not there. You're just like a means to an end. That's the same when they look at porn. They just have some odd problems. So unless he's gotten some help, which, you know, unfortunately a lot of men won't, especially black ones, because, you know, our culture is into this thing where they feel like, you know, people don't need mental health care, that you're supposed to just be able to, you know, jump up and, you know, just shake it off, and you're supposed to be all right, that, you know, you're something's wrong with you if you need to go to a therapist and all this kind of stuff. And, you know, something like that is traumatic. I mean, that happens, you know, when you're a kid or, you know, adolescent or whatever, where you're helpless and powerless. Of course you're going to be enraged. Of course you're going to feel betrayed. Of course you're going to be super angry. But you know, what happened to you as a kid, you had no control over. But as an adult, you need to deal with those feelings. You need to get all that out so that you can have a healthy relationship with somebody and really be, you know, emotionally and mentally intimate with them. And she's like, she says, I honestly felt like he groomed me to be his victim. Oh, wow. I'm ashamed to admit that we are older, in our 40s and 50s. Oh, honey, that don't matter. That does not matter. It does not matter how old you are. What matters is that whenever it happened to him, he still hasn't dealt with it. He still hasn't addressed the crisis and the trauma that happened to him and how it fucked up his mind. So, but you know, don't let it fuck up yours. I mean, it's sad that it happened to him as a child. Please believe me, I would never wish anything like that on a child. I mean, you know, little kids are innocent and they deserve to explore their sexuality in a natural way that's in line with their maturity and age. So when some adult takes that right away from a child, that opportunity, you know, the child, I mean, it's gone forever. You never can get that innocence back. And I'm sure there's a lot of rage connected with that as well. So you got to look at this man. He's really just fucked up. That's basically what it is. He's fucked up in the head. There's nothing you can do about it because you're not a therapist or counselor. And until he admits that he has a problem, A, and then B, goes and gets some help to deal with it, you know, deal with that anger and that rage and the post-traumatic stress disorder that he's carrying around, there's nothing he can do for you. It's nothing he can do. And he can just be a friend or whatever. But I would not invest any emotion in him. That's not going to be a safe situation for you to put your heart into. Okay. So let's see. My boyfriend brought me a video with men having sex. He was quick to say he's not gay, but just curious. This is bothering me. What do I do? Oh my God. Okay, let's start with the good part. The good part is that he trusted you enough to you know, share that side of himself with you. That's a very small good thing, because there's two ways. Okay, so you know how I do, like I give you an answer, then I give you the branch to the left and the branch to the right. Okay, now the branch to the right is because he wants to confess that this is something he's curious about. He wants to talk it out with you. It's bothering him that he's interested in it, you know, blah, 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 blah. Okay, then we branch to the left. It's like, okay, well, he told you, but he told you because he wants to try it, and he wants you to know that that's what he's interested in, and that's why he brought you the video. So see, I don't know which of those two it is, but in either case, it's something that would make me a little bit, you know, I'd be giving his ass a serious side eye, like, you know, what's really up with you? Because that would be something that I would have some big questions about. Now, it's quick to say he's not gay, he's curious. Okay, but you know what? Once you become curious about some shit that you're not supposed to be doing, the next step is you do it. Because see, you know, then he's going to be drunk one night, right? And somebody's going to approach him, and some dude's going to rub on him, and some dude's going to be like, you know, let me do this and that. Let's get together. Let's suck this. Okay, whatever, because this kind of shit happens in bathrooms all over the country. Then the next thing you know, he's going to go down that road. So see, no, the door has already been opened. And that's a door that I really wouldn't feel that comfortable with dealing with. I don't know. I think it would bother me too. She's also read a lot of Elin Harris's book. Well, there you go. And for those of you who might be too young, Elin Harris was the guy in the 90s who broke open this whole concept of what we now call the down low. He was talking about, he was a gay guy, but his books were all about how he had sexual relationships with allegedly straight men, some of them married. Okay, and it just caused, I mean, he was like the shit on all the talk shows and radio shows. His books was flying off the shelves because You know, it was something that we'd never heard of before. It was a whole new, I mean, just opened people's eyes to this whole undercover lifestyle that men had been living for, you know, decades, and women did not know anything about it. It was a trip to, you know, to see that all happen. So if you're, you know, young and you maybe were just born in the 90s or whatever, late 80s, look at E. Lynn Harris. It's all lowercase is how he spelled it. And you can read, you know, read about him and maybe even find a PDF of one of his books at this point because they're so old. But I would highly recommend reading those so you understand the whole DL mindset. Yeah, if he's read the Elin Harris's books, he's more than curious. Exactly. Because I'd be like, wait a minute, home skillet. You got some curiosities, all right. I don't think it's anything I would really want to be bothered with. I'm just kind of, I don't know. I don't really have those kind of that kind of curious gene. I don't have. I'm not really trying to deal with a dude on that level who's got that kind of stuff going on. You know, so, you know, a lot of these the new thing is with these young women, honey, in their 20s, they're like, well, what's wrong with a man who's bisexual? You know, there's nothing wrong with that. And I'm like, okay, where's your mother? What? How does this happen? Where did you get these thoughts from? Where your daddy at? You know what I mean? It's like they have some very interesting concepts of masculinity that are definitely not in line with mine. I'm not saying theirs is wrong. I'm saying I don't understand it. Because to me, a dude who's fucking another dude, that's not a man. I don't know what that is. Men fuck women. Okay? That's in Deb's world, that is how it is. So I don't know. I just really found that curious. Anyway, you guys have questions and answers, please post them. Otherwise, I'm going to kind of wind things down because I don't know where everybody went. We had like 5 times as many people actually register, but I guess people changed their minds. Something came up and, you know, they didn't come through. So the last question is, why are we Black women seen as an enemy? Oh, to men? I'm guessing that must be what she means. To men or to other women? Maybe she means to both. Why are we seen as an enemy? Well, to men, I think we're seen as you know, when a woman is, okay, to men, when a woman is kind of independent, and she likes to think for herself, make her own decisions. These guys who feel who I described earlier, their sense of themselves as men is very fragile. They don't really feel like men. They feel powerless and emasculated by white males. So then they take it out on Black females because they still want to feel like they're men, but they don't understand, okay, your sense of manhood comes from in here. It doesn't come from putting your foot on somebody's neck and standing on them, putting them down and make yourself feel lifted up. You have to make yourself feel lifted up by your accomplishments and your dreams and what you do and what you say. And so these guys, you know, they want to feel like they're, you know, have some mastery of themselves. But if you have a woman who tells you no and who does what she wants to do and who has her own thoughts, her own money, her own property, her own car, her own way of doing things, her own credit, I mean, she got everything going for herself. And if she turns around and says, nigga, I don't need you, it's true. She doesn't. That doesn't mean she doesn't want you though, but she doesn't need you. And men, for some, you know, people say, well, you know, men want to feel needed. They do, but it's not because of it's not because of what you think. They want to feel needed because they feel like if you need them, then you're dependent on them and then you won't leave them. Like they have you under their thumb. And it's a very, you know, you got to understand what those words really mean. They don't mean, they're not as innocent as you like to think they are, okay? Nobody really should, I mean, babies need their mother because they're completely dependent. That's how men want you to be to them, where you ask them for everything and you do need them to give you the okay. They want you to be like that because it makes them feel powerful and it makes them feel like, quote, men. So when they feel like when a woman is too independent, and that too is, you know, a word that's, no, it's just in quotes, too independent, they don't feel needed, and then they don't feel like they really have anything to They have no hold over her. And that's somebody with really low self-esteem. He, you know, he just doesn't feel like he's anybody unless he's dominating, controlling you. And that's the problem. That is a big problem. So then the question is, oh, okay, so she says, I've seen your videos on MGTOW and the true forced loneliness. What percentage of the single heterosexual male population do you think they represent? I'm feeling a bit pessimistic about dating because of the content I'm seeing on YouTube. Yeah, you know, that's funny because they don't wear a sign. You know what I mean? When you look at some of them, they look just regular, just like normal people that you just see walking up and down the street or at your job or at any club or grocery store or on the bus, the train. You know, they just look regular. There's no sign saying I'm a MGTOW fool on their forehead so you could easily identify them. But what you guys have to do, and this is why I spend so much time making these videos and talking so candidly to women, you have to become better listeners. Stop hearing what you want to hear and hear what the fuck these dudes are saying to you, and listen with your ears open. And stop, with this fantasy of happily ever after, and oh, he didn't mean it, and oh, it wasn't really like that. It was me. I misunderstood. No, you didn't misunderstood. He says what he wanted you to hear. You got to understand what you're hearing though. And, when dudes say fucked up stuff to you, then, stop excusing it. If a dude, you're telling a dude about your dream or something, he says, oh, that ain't shit, blah, 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 blah. Okay, why would you continue talking to that man? Why would you fuck him? Why would you hold his hand or listen to anything he's had to say? I mean, when a dude talks to you like that, he's showing you marked disrespect. He doesn't give a shit about you as a person or as a woman. I mean, that is so disrespectful. So you, at a point, you have a choice to make. Do I continue to deal with this person who just ultimately disrespected me and everything that I stand for and all my dreams and hopes and what I've accomplished in my life? He just dissed it all with that one comment. Do I stick around and try to, quote, work on this? Or do I cut this motherfucker loose? I recommend cutting him loose because you can't fix these guys. All you're going to do is waste years of your life on why he tears you down bit by bit, piece by piece, until you're just a mere shell of yourself. And then finally you get a clue and leave him, or he'll leave you. So I don't, I understand the pessimism. Oh my God, my tongue. Because, it's just, you have to be kind of that way when you look at the overwhelming numbers of males that are stupid. I mean, it's just, they got something's wrong with them. I have a theory about that, which I will be making a video on about that concerning the X and Y chromosome. But I think that, what is really going to what's really required is that women pay attention to what men say, what men do, and stop excusing it, stop making, apologizing for them, and stop giving them, ready-made excuses and passes on the crazy shit that they say to you. It's not okay. It's not okay to be talked to like that at all. All right. Okay. And then this question here, what is a man supposed to feel like? Well, seeing that I'm not one, that's kind of a challenge to me to answer. I can tell you what the men around me have said, my dads and my uncles and my grandfathers, even my older brothers. When you are a man, you have mastery of yourself. Now, what I took that to mean is you are in control of your emotions. You're not flying off the handle like these dudes do on YouTube, whining and crying and, calling women names and just going off and doing the most. That's not a man. Those are just little toddler, temper tantrum throwing toddlers. Man is mastery is exhibited by him having a plan and him working his plan. I'm going to go to school. I'm going to do this. I'm going to open my business. I'm going to have a wife. And he's doing everything he needs to do step by step. He is not deterred. He is not sidetracked. He's not, looking at the next shiny thing that gets him all twisted up and messed up. And he doesn't do stuff that shoots himself in the foot. Mastery, I think, is very hard to accomplish, and that's the word my dad always used to use. A man has mastery of himself. He used to say that all the time. It took me the longest time, really seriously, to figure out exactly what he meant. But you know, over the years, he gave different examples, and when you put it all together, that's what it means. He's handling his shit. That's basically what it is. He's handling his responsibilities. He's living a life of, you know, of uprightness and focus and determination and success and achievement. He stays focused. And a video I did recently for a 17-year-old boy who wrote me asking about what he could do to be a man. I focused on those things. I don't think I used the word mastery, though I should have, but maybe I did. I don't remember. But basically, that's, you know, what I was telling him is, you know, you got to stay focused. Stay focused. Keep your mind right, and don't get sidetracked by booty and, you know, clubbing and, you know, all this stuff, because then you'll be all fucked up and trying to figure out what happened. So, I mean, that's the best thing I the best answer that I can give you, but perhaps, you know, some guys will listen to this and they might have another perspective. She says she's never taught the concept of male mastery. Yeah, you know, and it's really funny because outside of my family, I don't think I've ever heard anybody use that phrase either, to tell you the truth. The one who used to say it all the time was my dad. And then, you know, of course, he taught it to my brothers, and so now my brothers use the term as well. But it's such a large umbrella, but it's such a powerful word when you think about it. You know, what does it mean when someone has mastery of their life? That means that shit is rolling like BART. Well, that's what we have here. We have BART trains. You know, it's like, woo, just rolling. And, you know, it's not stopping, it's not slowing down, it's just on the move, forward progress. And it's done with skill and finesse and polish and success, and all of these kinds of things are all part of mastery. And, you know, you can't have mastery unless you know what the fuck you doing and you have a plan. So you have all these brothers out here running around just willy-nilly. They don't have a plan. They just living from hand to fist and, you know, just shacking up over here and over there. And, you know, what's your plan for next year, next week, next month? I mean, they don't even have one. You know, they have no goals for themselves. They have no plan. So that's why when you see a man who does have something going on, he's like, even if he's not that cute in the face, the fact that he has mastery is and that confidence enough to project it is very sexually attractive to women. So, you know, a lot of times you see these dudes, they don't look like nothing, but they exude that confidence and that mastery of themselves, and they draw women like flies. That's what's wrong with these MGTOW dudes and the TFL people. They don't have any confidence at all. And it just makes them just look pitiful, and they're just not sexy. All right, so let's see. Let's do the last question here. Since my cousin introduced me to a drunk friend first. Oh my God. She said he was a good man. Was your cousin drunk too? I mean, you know, you know, and I'm not saying that he wasn't a decent dude, you know, underneath all that alcohol. He may be, he just might be a good dude that likes to drink. But if you don't like dudes that drink like that, and he's to the point of being drunk, then he's not a good man for you. You see what I mean? So that's something that, you know, I'm not really, I don't want to necessarily say that somebody who's not really exhibiting these signs of being a, you know, cluster B fuck up is not a good man. I mean, he might be a perfectly nice dude, but the fact that he, you know, has alcoholic tendencies, well, that presents a whole new realm of problems that, you know, I don't know. I'm just not really willing to deal with all that. I don't like any kind of you know, aholics, you know, sexaholic, alcoholic, weedaholic, foodaholic, none of that. No aholics. I just, you know, I want somebody who has mastery. You can't have mastery of yourself if you got some kind of shit dragging you down. like that, where you just have to have it, and it's some shit that takes you, you know, on a detour to your train rolling forward. You see what I mean? No, we can't have that. I mean, you have a little drinking every now and then, you know, a glass of wine, a couple of shots of hand. I mean, I'm good for that myself, you know, but it's not, I never to the point where I'm drunk, you know, because like now I had a few sips of wine, right? Am I doing this video? Am I not articulate? Is my brain not working? So, you know, I don't drink to the point where it affects my my reflexes or my thinking like that. And that's the kind of guy that I would find attractive. You can sit down and have a glass of wine with our dinner and stuff. We're going to still have an interesting conversation. And, you know, we can get up and play chess or something. I mean, you know, it's going to be an interesting evening. Wine is just a part of it. It's not the whole thing. And I think that's where a lot of people lose control, and it just becomes, alcoholism becomes an issue. He lives in the projects and works at a fish market. Wait a minute. That could come in handy, though, when it's time to make gumbo. Girl, you know how much it costs to make a pot of gumbo these days? It's like $150. But, you know, I'm joking. But, yeah, no. We're good on that. So I want to thank everybody for coming in and sitting with me during this webinar. I think I'll do this again in a couple of weeks. We'll have another free one. I'll try to promote it a little bit more in advance so everybody can come through with their questions, set up something so you can submit your questions in advance like some of these other people did, but I'll promote it that way. And, you know, then we'll sit down and we'll have another nice conversation in real time. But in the meantime, if you have something you want me to do, like on a video you want to issue addressed, you know, feel free to send it to me at survivingdating, all one word, survivingdating@gmail.com. Just submit your question for the next webinar, or a suggestion for a video, okay? I take all suggestions very seriously. Sometimes it takes me a while because like right now you have like 6 videos that I'm in the process of working on. So if you add yours to the mix, it's going to be, you know, after that. So you might not see it for a month or 2, but that doesn't mean that I have forgotten about your idea. All right. But thanks you guys. Yay. That concludes the webinar for the day. I'm glad that you stopped in. It was a good time. Bye-bye.